So here's an older man.
Here's an old adult man who's like, I trust this child with my life. Someone's about to murder me, and I need this kid to stop it. I need the best detective in the world. A child.
Beware and warning, and welcome everybody to Choose Your Own Book Club. This is a podcast all about the Choose Your Own Adventure books and all the adventures that we get into along the way.
All the adventures we have while we read the Choose Your Own Adventure books.
What adventures have you been up to, Abby?
Nothing.
Well, that's...
How about you?
Also nothing. I started a new library job, but
Woo!
That's about it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So, my name is Peter. I'm a librarian.
My name's Abby. I'm also a librarian.
And today we are talking about who killed Harlowe Thrombey?
Was it you?
I mean...
You could have been.
Yeah. I think what killed him was his boredom. And just not really having a cohesive plot.
It was one person every single time.
Yeah.
It was never, there was never more than one choice.
Well, we'll get into it. But yeah. So this is the 9th book. It's written by Edward Packard. A little bit of trivia about this one, obviously, is that Ryan Johnson is a big fan of his books. Based the victim of Knives Out on this character. So the character has a very similar name in Knives Out. So in Knives Out, the Christopher Plummer character is called Harlowe Thrombey. And this character in Choose Your Own Adventure is called Harlowe Thrombey. So there's a clear connection. Ryan Johnson has said as much that he really likes the books. So it's a pretty obvious comparison. So let's get into this book. I texted you yesterday that this is basically, in my opinion, the best book we've done so far, and somehow the worst book we've done so far.
Yeah, it's fun, but it also it's fun to solve as a mystery, but it is not very fun to do as a Choose Your Own Adventure book, at least the way that I like Choose Your Own Adventure books.
So there aren't that many choices, unfortunately, for a Choose Your Own Adventure book.
No, there's not a lot of options. It's always funneling you to the one path. It's
very railroady, and this might have the least amount of endings, I think.
Yeah. It really does, because really it's like, well, there are like a couple, there is one really solution to the mystery. And there are a couple of different ways to get to that solution. But it's the same solution no matter what.
I tried looking up how many endings there were, and usually right on the cover, they say how many endings there are, but they didn't even want to say
no
how many, because I think there's so few.
Yeah.
Let's get into Choose Your Own Summary. So, Abby, I'm going to need you to summarize this book.
Okay.
But, no, you're talking to the microphone, you're not talking to my dog.
Okay, sorry.
Although he does have a big cone on, so he looks like the RCA dog. That's like looking into the big phonograph. Except he is the big phonograph.
Yawn. Big yawn, tired boy.
No, he's just stressed.
Oh, same. Oh my gosh. Okay. Choose your own summary. I'm ready.
You are going to summarize this book
the
best you can in 60 seconds or less, but you get to choose how you want to summarize it.
Okay.
Is that okay, or because you sound a little...
No, I'm just distracted by a puppy.
Oh.
Nope, I'm ready.
Okay. So, option 1 is you are going to summarize this book, but in a Ryan Johnson accent, without looking up where he's from or what he sounds like.
Okay. I'm just going to guess where he's from. New Zealand.
Knives Out, mate.
I think that's Australia. That's offensive to New Zealand people.
Probably. So all of our Australian people, which is like 90% of our audience. I do apologize. We're a big hit in Australia. Nowhere else, just in Australia. Or option 2 is there's a whole bunch of characters on the cover, and I'm going to point to them randomly, and you're going to do their voice as best you can.
Are you going to point to the
Well, how about you describe the cover really quick?
fingerprint ink as well? So, okay, I'm going to describe the characters on the cover. So first, I will start with you. You're a child-ish, and you are a young gentleman, and you have like very much Ken doll hair, but it's jet black, and your eyebrows look like commas. Then there's, what's her name? Jenny Mungo or something.
Jenny Mudge?
There's Jenny Mudge, splash of freckles. She has humongous blonde curls and a very long neck.
Giraffe-esque.
She is a very beautiful giraffe. And she looks very intelligent, and she has the most curls ever. Like Shirley Temple, if Shirley Temple was drawn by an insane 5-year-old. Okay.
But it's also not like the most flattering picture
no.
of her. If like I took that picture of her, she'd be like, take it again. Because like that's not...
No. This is like if she went to a sleepover and stayed up really late and slept funny, and then put on a red headband.
And then there's Harlowe Thrombey.
Who is a purple, dead corpse on the ground.
Yeah, Grimace is his father.
Yeah. He looks like he's doing a really awkward dance of death, okay, on the ground. There's Professor Proofrack, Detective Proofrack up in the corner. Just absolutely chugging away at this humongo pipe.
It's like a Gandalf pipe.
It is absolutely a Gandalf pipe. It is super long.
He's wearing 2 ties.
He has 2 ties on. His shirt is mostly unbuttoned over his rather rotund tum-tum.
And his suspenders are doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And he's also wearing a belt with his suspenders, which I always love.
Suspenders are working OT, holding those pants up. He has on a blue bowler cap. He has a gigantic... I can't tell if that's his nose or a mustache.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yep, his nose is his mustache. And nothing on him matches. But he is a great detective.
Well, that's debatable.
Allegedly.
But in the middle, there's a whole bunch of just different objects, clues that you maybe run across.
There's a recorder. There's some brandy. There's a spyglass thing. Fingerprint ink. And then at the bottom, there is a rough customer, as we like to say, keen, with a, I don't know, would you say seafoam green face?
Yes.
Purple-ish tie.
The tie's attached to nothing.
The tie has no neck. Like, literally, he's floating at the bottom here. He is like the Wizard of Oz's head.
Yes.
It's like, oh, who dares disturb my slumber? What does he say when they go in there? The Wizard of Oz?
Who dares to disturb my slumber? Yeah.
Is that what he said?
He's just trying to take a nap. I don't know.
He's sleeping. But he has, like receding hairline, big bulging eyes, caterpillar eyebrows, humongo nose. It is sticking out.
So it's very, his whole caricature is very cartoonish.
Yeah, like face not even a mother would love. Okay.
So you're going to describe the book.
Ooh la la.
With those characters in mind. So I'll give you 6 seconds and start.
Okay, I heard you're a kid and your aunt had a mystery at her house and you solved it by finding a beer bottle in a thing, and now you're a great detective. So this guy who's rich calls you and says, my wife has maybe gonna kill me, and so I need you to come and solve it because you're a child. But now there's all these people who are coming to the house and they're all maybe suspects. All of a sudden we all have dinner and then we all have dinner and drink some brandy except for me because I'm a kid. And then all of a sudden we're like hanging out or whatever, and the rich guy dies, and then I've gotta investigate and
And Keen.
Yeah, I've gotta
Oh no.
I can't remember what he talked like. I'm a life for crime. Gotta investigate and figure out who killed
10 seconds. Harlow. Because he's dead.
Dead. Invest.
And okay, that was a minute.
He's dead. I can't talk like him.
That was maybe the worst summary you've ever done.
Ooh,
The end.
The end.
Well,
Sorry.
that was interesting. I don't know if you described it the best, but that was
There's
interesting.
so much setup before you even get into
That's-
the choosing.
Well, you basically hit the nail on the head.
Yes.
It's all set up and very little payoff. So let's just get. I think this is the best setup though that we've ever had.
Sure.
So let's just get into it.
Usually, yes, there's like a one-page setup.
Right. It's usually like literally a page and then no setup at all, and then you're just off to crazy adventures.
Right, which is nice when you are then going back and being like, okay, I'm going to reread this and try to find a different path. Whereas with this one, it's like, okay.
So here's how this one starts. So it's been a year since the robber climbed in your Aunt Miranda's.
Which is not a name.
Miranda is not a name. You're right. Mirinda. Yeah, I said that right. Because I was thinking like Melinda. Like that's maybe a name, but Mirinda, I don't think that's a name. You're right.
Mirinda is a name. Mirinda?
So Aunt Mirinda. So the robber climbed into your Aunt Miranda's bedroom at 2:00 in the morning. "Get out!" she screamed at him, and that's just what he did, taking her pearl necklace with him.
This is my favorite part when you're like, okay, there's a beer bottle in her.
Yeah, let me get that. So the next day, you found a beer bottle in the bushes outside Aunt Miranda's house.
And you're like, she doesn't do that. She doesn't just drink from her bedroom and chuck bottles out. That's not Aunt Miranda's style.
So then you hand it over to the police. And so then the robber's fingerprints were on the bottle. The police quickly identified him, and now he's safely behind bars. So, first of all...
So good job, police, on conducting a thorough investigation of the property.
Because that's just so, like, very basic. It's not like it was hidden well.
No,
it's just
like
in a bush.
Sitting there, I'm imagining, like, you know, some, like, evergreen bushes with a bottle just sticking out of the top. For everyone in the world to see. Or
it's like one of those like trees like that are made out of like metal and like you hang wine bottles on them. It's one of those trees.
No.
So anyway, there's that. Like it's not going to be well hidden. No. But second of all, that's pretty circumstantial. Like that doesn't really prove anything.
Right, like where does she live? Is she like on a main drive?
Right.
Through like dragway and there's like bottles everywhere. But no, then maybe this totally innocent person is behind bars, and then it's like, oh, you now have quite a reputation as a detective. So you've gotten a, you know, magnifying glass and a fingerprint kit and cassette recorder, and you're ready for business.
But also, who is this robber? Like, why does this robber like need to like drink a whole beer
for courage
at 2 a.m?
For courage,
I suppose.
I really need a pearl necklace. So I'm going to chug this bottle of beer, jump in this old lady's window. And then when she sees me, I'm going to just grab it and jump back out.
This carefully planned heist.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So you were saying, since then, you've gotten quite a reputation as a detective. You solved one case with the easiest clue possible. And now you have a reputation. So yeah, you've equipped yourself with a magnifying glass, fingerprint kit, and a cassette recorder, and you're ready for business. And then this, I love...
imagine you two like hanging up a sign outside your family home, like, detective has magnifying glass, fingerprint kit, like with bullet points. We'll solve your case.
But then it's like operating hours, like from 3 to 5, because I'm in school the rest of the day. Right. And then in the picture, like your fingerprint kit is like carefully hung up with your magnifying glass, so you have a whole shelf designated for your sleuthing supplies.
And I'm wondering where this is. Like, is this in your mom's kitchen?
Probably. Well, it's right next to the phone. It's like a nice rotary phone, so it's probably like in the living room somewhere.
You're like, Mom, can I have a shelf for my detective work?
You don't understand, Mom.
Mom, please.
Mom.
I have quite the reputation. Oh.
It's right next to like a big taxidermy deer. And
a big bass hanging out the wall.
So I love this next paragraph because it's very judgy.
God.
Some of your friends have decided to become detectives too. So they're like, they're your friends. They want to share a common interest with you.
I can find a bottle in the bush.
I can do that too. So yeah, some of your friends are detectives too now. That's okay. They're just a bunch of amateurs. So how judgy? You solve one case, and so now you're...
But your friends who've solved no cases are the ones who are amateurs.
Take that, Encyclopedia Brown. Go find some lunch money that got stolen.
Oh.
So you said, that's okay. They're just a bunch of amateurs, except maybe that frizzy-haired girl down the street, Jenny Mudge. Mm-hmm. So again, Jenny Mudge is the girl that you were describing. She has the big frilly hair.
With her really great curly hair.
Mm-hmm. And a very unflattering picture on the front.
Right. They did not, Paul Granger did not, he did her dirty.
Mm-hmm. And she's the only character with a neck, so it kind of stands out.
It's true.
Odd. So yeah, Jenny Mudge is really your only competition. She's definitely smart. In fact, sometimes you think she might be smarter than you are. Mm-hmm. Which, is that a bad thing?
Well, she is a girl.
Yes, yeah.
So, ugh.
Can't have that.
Ugh.
So, and now it looks like that you've got your first big case. Harlowe?
Bigger than the beer bottle outside
The mystery of the beer bottle.
Window?
Mm-hmm. So now it looks like you got your first big case. Harlowe Thrombey, he's the president of Thrombey Plastics Company, has just called and asked you to come to his house at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And he says, I hear you have sharp eyes from this one instance.
He's like, I hear you saw a beer bottle in a bush. Get over here with them sharp eyes, kid.
And that's what I need right now. I need your sharp eyes because I think my life is in danger. So here's an older man.
Here's an old adult man who's like, I trust this child with my life. Someone's about to murder me, and I need this kid to stop it. I need the best detective in the world. A child.
He's good at locating beer bottles. I'm sure other things.
Yes, I saw that he has on his sign outside, he has fingerprint stuff, a magnifying glass I saw.
What else do you need?
I saw a mention of that. I think he had a cassette recorder I saw. So he's ready for business. So
So Thrombey calls you, and then you can choose to accept his invitation to go to his house where he's having some dinner guests, or you can choose to go later. And so,
ooh, which one did you choose?
I chose to go later because I was just, I'm a kid. I'm a kid. Like I'm sure I have school later.
At 5 p.m. you have school?
It's a school night, maybe. So yeah, I chose to go later. It sounds like you chose to go right away.
Right away.
Well, really, it doesn't matter either way.
Yeah, I know.
Because he dies regardless of whether you're there or not. And so there's a bunch of different characters there. So there's Jane Thrombey, that's the wife, and that's who the police suspect right away. Mm-hmm. There's Chartwell, which I don't think is a real name.
Nope.
So Chartwell's the nephew, and he's a little kind of dweeby, cowardly, not...
Probably good at mapping because of his
Because it's Chartwell.
Yeah, he's good at charting things.
Mm-hmm. There's Angela the niece, and then there's the boyfriend, Dr. Robert Lipscomb. Mm-hmm. There's also Helga the cook, and there's Jenkins the gardener, but they don't really factor in at all. No. They're just there to basically verify clues, and that's about it. So really, the only suspects are Jane, the wife, Chartwell the nephew, Angela the niece, and the boyfriend, Dr. Robert Lipscomb. And Jane, the wife, is basically suspected right away, and then she is basically off the suspect list right away too. So it's really only down to 3 people, and I don't know if we want to spoil it right away, but basically all 3 of them had some sort of hand in it. And so it's really not that much of a story, or a mystery story at least.
Well, it's really interesting because my path that I took was, I went obviously to the dinner. And so I was there when the murder happened, which was really exciting. You know, you get there and you can decide right away. You meet with Thrombey, and he's like, I think my wife is going to try to kill me. So he tells you that right away. So you can go and play pool with Robert and Thrombey, or you can look around. So I was like, I'm going to look around. You bump in to Helga and Jenny Mudge in the kitchen.
That's right.
Yes. And
so,
yeah,
at least Thrombey is kind of hedging his bets a little bit. And he's like, hey, this kid detective, maybe he's unproven. I'm going to get 2 kid detectives.
Yeah. So there's 2 kid detectives in the case there.
Double my chances of surviving this night.
Exactly. So you bump into them, then you go back out there, and then everyone is there. Like Chartwell's there, Jane comes home, and then you can decide to stay for dinner, and Angela then gets there as well. So you stay for dinner, and then everyone has brandy except for you. You're a child. You can't have brandy. And then after dinner, you can decide to go play pool with the fellas, or you can listen to Jane play piano.
So did you listen to Jane play piano?
I did.
Because that factors into some of the clues later.
I did listen to Jane play piano because my original thing that Thrombey hired me for was to watch Jane, because that's what he thinks is going to happen. She's going to kill him. So I was like, okay, I'll go listen to Jane play piano while the guys are playing pool.
Which, before we get into that, it's never really established why Thrombey thinks that his wife is going to kill him.
Well, she told him that. He stops in his tracks and turns towards you. The truth is, I think she would rather have me dead. And then you say, what makes you think that? And he says, she told me.
Okay, I didn't do this part, so...
And then you're like, maybe she just lost her temper. And he's like, I'd like to think so, but maybe you'll be able to judge that when you meet her. But I'm a child, so I don't know. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit and listen to Jane play piano with Angela. Angela's in there with her, and she's like, oh, Angela, I heard you're taking piano lessons. And Angela's like, yeah, Auntie, I'm playing piano lessons or whatever, but I'm not as good as you, so I'm not going to play duet with you. And she's like, oh, okay, I'll sit here and play piano for everyone for half an hour.
And then she plays Beethoven's Midnight Sonata, right? Which is actually really good for a duet, I would think. Especially, we find out later that Angela is just learning how to play.
Yeah.
And so... Oh, but I guess she has ulterior motives, but...
She sure does. So then, like, while that's happening, you're like, okay, I'm going to get up because I'm bored just sitting here watching somebody play piano. And then as that happens, you go out into the room to see the guys playing pool and stuff, and Harlow's not there. You hear a scream. You go over there. He's dying. So you go over. You're, like, leaning over the guy, and he is like, it was, and then he dies.
No, do more dying noises.
So he dies before getting to tell you who killed him. So you have no idea. You just have yourself and the witnesses, the people who were there when he died.
So I went after the fact, which is interesting because basically the same thing happened. So yeah, both Chartwell and the doctor, Lipscomb, they're playing billiards by themselves, so they're kind of each other's alibi, so they couldn't have done it. And then Jane, the wife, and Angela, the niece, they're in the parlor playing piano. And then they're kind of pointing at each other and saying, this person left the room for a half hour and probably poisoned the drink. Which I feel would be like a good detective or a good police officer would be like able to like suss out that like, well, one of these people is clearly lying. Like,
right. Well, that's why when I interview people, I can decide to interview them all together, or I can yoink, 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 pick them apart and interview them while we're waiting for the police to come.
So, that's basically the setup.
Right.
We can try to talk about the format a little bit because you're able to interview everybody at least like 3 different times.
Yep.
And so the book, it's only, 122 pages. And, there's 4 or 5 different characters. If you're able to interview them each, a page each, 3 different times, that's going to take up a lot of space. So that means there's not a whole lot of endings. There's not a whole lot of choices. Mm-hmm. So I like that Packard was trying to play with the formula, because I think, with a good author could potentially make a good choose your own adventure mystery, but I don't know if Packard really knew how to do it.
It was funny because I really do feel like it was very Knives Out-y, because it was like, okay, at first I interviewed Chartwell, and he was like, oh yeah, no, I was totally in the room playing pool the whole time, and I would never murder anyone. I was in the game room. Robert and I were waiting for him. We were in the same room the whole time. Harlowe left and got a drink by himself, basically. Then, the stupid police guy comes and he's like, oh, the kid detective is here. Why don't you go home and go to bed? So I don't go home. I go to the greenhouse. When I get there, I find that there's a spot where the missing arsenic was.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then...
So someone in the afternoon broke into the greenhouse and got the arsenic. It couldn't have been Angela, we find out, because Angela had a doctor's appointment that afternoon.
She had a dentist appointment.
Dentist, thank you.
And it wasn't Jane, because Jane had a key. And you find outside...
But also, again, that's circumstantial.
Well, yes.
Because she totally still could have gone into that door.
Like someone had used shears to
gardening shears.
Garden shears to open it up. So it wouldn't have been the gardener either, because he would have had a key, number 1. And number 2...
He doesn't want to mess up his shears.
He's in the hospital. So,
oh yeah, he's in the hospital for an unrelated thing.
He's in the hospital. So you're like, okay, you can leave after you find that the arsenic is missing.
The arsonist.
Or, guess what? I'm the bottle boy. I can go check the pantry and look for this missing bottle, which is what I do. So I go check the pantry, and guess what? I find the bottle. Guess where? In a bush outside.
Do you really?
I do. I take it to the hospital. Jenkins is like, yeah, that's the arsenic bottle. And I was like, yes. So then...
So then you can get it fingerprinted.
Yes.
But then, so it mostly has Jenkins' fingerprints on it. Which it makes sense because he's the gardener or whatever.
Right.
And then, but you find someone else is on it too. I believe it's the doctor's, right? The doctor?
Dr. Robert Lipscomb.
Which...
Because he stole it.
Because he didn't have stealing it. But how did you get his fingerprints?
I don't know. But...
Because you can't just fingerprint anybody.
Hold on. I have the craziest thing. Because I ended up getting kidnapped. I took a crazy path. And I ended up having all this weird stuff happen. And I kept having the option to call Jenny Mudge and team up with her. And I was like, no.
This is solo.
This is a solo job. But at one point, someone hits me bashes me over the head, and all this, and then they're like, I'm going to murder you next time. And I'm like, no. I'm not going to let you murder me. But,
well, I think
it's wild.
Part of the reasons that they went so crazy is because the branches are just so long.
Yeah.
Because there's so few endings, you kind of just get spit out into other branches.
Yep, you just keep spiraling back into the story.
Until, you stumble upon an ending, and there's only a handful of them.
Yeah.
So
they're all the same.
Right, so you basically de facto will solve the mystery.
Yeah, but it's there's so many different, paths to solving it, and they're, different levels of wild. So, yeah. Basically, I find out that Angela and Robert teamed up to poison him together. And I find this because...
Right, so Robert ended up stealing the arsenic.
Yes.
And Lisa...
gives it to Angela.
Yeah, and then Angela ended up giving it to Harlowe in the brandy drink.
Yes. And I found that out kind of in a weird way, because, after the arsenic was confirmed to be arsenic by Jenkins... Then I went back to the house and I found Jane and Gilliam Prem, the lawyer. And I was like, I remember that name. And then I looked back at the old copy of, what was that other book? The Chimney Rock one. He was also the lawyer.
Oh, really?
There.
Oh, that's cool.
Is this all happening in the same universe?
Well, it's The mystery of Chimney Rock is a much better mystery if we're going there.
So it's the same lawyer. So anyway, then they're like, well, the will says that his money gets left to 3 people. It's split between Jane, Chartwell, and Angela. And I was like, well, it would make sense for Angela and Robert to team up together then, because then they would get that split of the money. So then I started like, anytime I have a chance to question Robert, I go and question him. And this is the best part. I get to a point where I have everyone in the room, and Robert says, I know who killed him. I heard Robert's last words. Jane poured my last drink. So he is throwing the blame onto Jane.
Yes.
And then you're like, You pull out your tape recorder, you shove it in front of his face, and you said, I had a tape recorder planted in the music room all evening. The piano never stopped. Since Jane was the only one playing, I know you lied about his last words. And he's like, but I couldn't have poured his drink. I was in the game room. And then you find out that Angela poured the drink. And she gets mad and is like, no, you gave me that arsenic. He tries to run away. Proofrack shoves him up against a bookcase. And then this is my favorite part. This is my favorite ending. Proofrack is like, how did you think of putting a tape recorder in the music room, he says. To tell the truth, I didn't, you reply, taking the cassette back from him. This is just an old Beatles recording. So you didn't, you bluffed.
Right.
It was the Beatles tape.
I like to think that his tape recorder was like the tape recorder from Home Alone 2.
Right? I'm the king of the cool chair.
Credit card? You got it.
Oh.
So the other big clue is that, Jane and Angela are supposedly in the parlor playing piano. One of them leaves, and they're both saying that, the other person left.
Okay.
And so they're playing, the music that was playing was Beethoven's Midnight Sonata, which is too hard for Angela to play. So that's why you know that she's lying.
She's just a student. She's terrible.
Which is, I'm not sure. Have you ever played piano?
No.
It's not the hardest thing to play.
Well, I don't know. I think all piano is hard to play.
Well, fair enough. It's just pressing keys. It's just pressing buttons, Abby. Why can't you do it? But anyway, I solved the mystery through the weirdest route possible.
Okay.
So like I said, I went after the fact, and I interview a couple people, I walk around a little bit, and then I get a weird note. I get a weird note, and it says, I have some information, I have some evidence for you. Meet me at the White Horse Inn at 5 o'clock. I'll be sitting under the clock. Henry Falcon. You can go to through a couple different routes. You find out who Henry Falcon is. There's a couple different ways you can do it, because he also uses a different alias.
Yeah.
It's called Hawk. And then if you think that's suspicious, you can go to the police records.
Oh, you can also find out that if you go there by yourself to the inn, they tell you, oh yeah, there's some guy named Hawk sits at this table.
So you take the tiny elevator up to the 6th floor and pause a moment into the shabby, dimly lit hallway between the 2 doors. So you knock on Keen's door. So Keen is both Hawk and he's also Mr. Falcon. And through different ways you find that out. And so he says, who are you? And here's your 2 choices. If you say, I'm investigating the murder of Harlowe Thrombey, I would like to ask you a few questions. You turn to page 80. If you turn to page 80, you find out that he was originally asked to assassinate Harlowe Thrombey, and then he murders you on the spot.
Oh.
But then if you turn to page 81, then he invites you in, and that's when you find out, at least that's how I found out, that he was also a jukebox kingpin. So that he moonlights as an assassin, but he sells jukeboxes on the side, or is the assassin on the side, and his main gig is to sell jukeboxes.
Imagine being an assassin and someone's like, so what's your cover? And you're like, I sell jukeboxes. I'm a jukebox man.
That's where the real money is.
Never been caught. Not suspicious at all.
Mm-hmm. But he always leaves like a calling card where he always plays "What's Up, Pussycat."
Blinded by the Light by Man from Man. Oh no.
Yeah, so that's how I actually found out that Dr. Robert Liscombe was the murderer. So I didn't find out any of the clues about the piano or that he stole the arsenic or anything like that. I found out because I was talking to Keen and then I was shadowing him, and then Dr. Robert, he comes in with his fancy car, and he comes to like the apartment and he tries to pay off Keen for an assassination he didn't do. And so that's how I find out who murdered him.
Oh my gosh. And just so everyone knows, the guy with the gigantic nose who I described earlier with the seafoam green face is Keen/Falcon/Hawk. We'll see. In the one way that I found out about Keen, it was like he originally had been asked by Dr. Robert Lipscomb to murder Harlowe Thrombey, but then Angela and Lipscomb did it themselves. And so then Keen actually is mad and wants you to help him kill Robert and Angela.
Which you offer to do, but then you go right to the police.
Yep, exactly.
Mm-hmm. I also forgot to say, when you knock on Keen's door, there's two options. You can say, "I'm investigating the murder," and then he kills you right away. The other option is you say, "I hear you're a real pro and I have a good piece of business for you." So like you're offering to like pay for an assassination, to pay for a hit like this. I love the idea of just like this 12-year-old kid knocking on some strange door and be like, "Hey, I got some that needs taken care of." And then the guy's like, "Come on inside."
Right. Because, yeah, it's great. I love this Keen guy. He's like a mob boss who also sells jukeboxes.
But I also love, like, if you're like this famous detective in this town, why would anyone like trust you or give you information that's like secret?
Yeah, no.
So that was just more of a, every once in a while you just get like a confusing choice or just a confusing branch that kind of negates all the other branches.
Yeah.
And also I like rereading mysteries. Like I like rewatching Knives Out because then you see like
to find the details that you missed.
all the details, all the character reactions too. That's really fun. But just in this story, once you know who the murderer is, it's not really fun to like go back and like try different paths because, well, first of all, there's hardly any other paths to begin with. But second, like, well, my iPad's about to die, so let's wrap it up.
Oh no.
So let's just get to, I guess, the last part of this book was, so, you know, most of it's set up, and then a lot of it's interviews, and then you get to page 101. And page 101 is just a bunch of different...
solved it by the time you get to 101.
Yes, so it's just a whole bunch of different options. So it's like, so it just says, what should you do next? And then there's a whole bunch of options. Like if you got fingerprints, go to this page. If you want to fingerprint this, go to this page. If you want to talk to this person, you go to this page. And so this is basically like Packard's last ditch effort. Be like, look, if you haven't figured it out by now,
dummy, have you figured it out or not?
Let's wrap this up, kid.
Yeah.
And then so I think that was one of your favorite endings. Was
one of my favorite. Well, it was ridiculous because it's like if you haven't figured it out by now, then you know you can do all these things. But the best option is obviously if you decide to give up on the case, turn to page 119. And if you go to page 119, it just says, it's depressing. There's nothing you hate more than not being able to solve a murder case. The end. It's your first murder case, so how can you not hate anything more than that?
But the next one will be better.
Yeah, right?
It can only go up from here. Next one is going to be flawless.
Womp womp.
So that's one of the very few endings, which oddly enough, there's also an ending where you, most of the endings are you figure it out, You get some sort of reward. There's another ending where who's the girl detective?
Jenny.
Yeah, Jenny Mudge figures it out before you.
Yep. There's a couple where she figures it out before you. There's one where it's like, oh, she figured it out by sitting behind the couple in the theater. It wasn't even fun. She just sat behind him and heard him whispering about it.
Mm-hmm. Another one of my favorite endings was page 112. So again, this is in the last ditch effort, page 101. Like Packard's just being like, please, kid, figure this out. So if you go to page 112. You go and you interview Angela again, and she's like, yeah, I was playing piano, it was Midnight Sonata, and then you're like, hey, I thought you were just a beginner piano player. You can't play Midnight Sonata.
You're not good enough.
And then smartly, you're like, oh, well, can you play it right now? And then so Angela picks up a gun, and she shoots you point blank.
Yeah.
Which, when did she get a gun?
I don't know, but she just killed a kid in cold blood.
Mm-hmm.
So, yikes, Angela. That's cold. You just murdered 2 people.
Well, hope it was worth it. So that was Who Killed Harlowe Thrombey. What do you think of this one?
I thought it was very, very fun, but it's not one where it's like just wild and wacky, which are my favorite ones.
Right.
I like the ones where it's like, oh man, this is unhinged and there's so many options. Those are really fun and exciting, and you can reread them a lot of times. So, but this one was cool and interesting. It was great and not great at the same time.
I agree. Like, I love the setup for this one because there's so many like wacky details, and it's so like oddly set up, and then it kind of started to pay off. I did like the mystery element of it, but it was very clear who did it.
Yeah.
Even for a kid's book. I mean, kids' books they're usually...
for sure.
But even for a kid's book, it was pretty clear. And then once you figure it out, it's kind of not fun to go back.
Right, because I thought if I reread it, there might be a different answer. But no.
Kind of like Clue.
Yeah.
The movie Clue.
Yeah, but no, there was no different answer.
Right.
That was it.
Which I guess... Depending on the book, I appreciate if there's continuity, but in this one, I think it might have been fun if there was less continuity between choices.
Totally.
So that was Who Killed Harlowe Thrombey. Interesting, at least. At least, Packard is trying, because I think as we get on with these books, they become more and more kind of like there's kind of a formula to these books.
Mm-hmm. At least there were no aliens in this one.
That we know of. But at least, he's trying different things, which I always appreciate. So that was...
Keen is an alien. He is green.
He is green.
Green Keen. Oh my gosh.
Oh, why? The answers were there the whole time, Mr. Police. I gave you all the clues. So yeah, that was Who Killed Harlowe Thrombey. Our next book will be The Lost Jewels of Nabooti.
Y'all.
Written by R.A. Montgomery. We're into 1981 now. I think we might have a guest for that one. Oh, I think I might bring in other Abby.
Sweet. Abby too.
Abby too. I knew you first, so it's only fair that I call her Abby too.
It's true. I'm the original one.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. So yeah, that'll be our next book. Let's get to housekeeping really quick because my iPad is about to die. Make sure that you...
Harlowe Thrombey.
So make sure you subscribe so you can stay on top of latest episodes. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram because we just post wacky things when we have time. Yep. Make sure that you give us a positive rating just because it helps us out. Make sure that you check out our Redbubble. It's almost set up. We just ran into a couple different problems, but I gotta figure it out when I have time. So just check us out on Redbubble, and you can get a shirt with a really cool logo on it, plus a couple other extra surprises on there. Yeah. So yeah, thanks for choosing us today, everybody. How about let's bring back an old segment? Choose your own ending. Abby, how would you end this book? If you had a choice.
I would have had me do it as a twist ending. With the bottle, I would have broken it on the table and shivved him. Take that.
Well, an aspiring detective, you might as well be an aspiring criminal too.
Right? And you know what? That would be the best way to start being a good detective. You create the problem and then you solve it.
Right. That's sustainability right there.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today, everybody. I'm Peter. I'm a librarian.
I'm Abby. I'm also a librarian, not a murderer.
That's what a murderer would say, though.
Oh.
Giving you evil eyes right now.
I've only ever killed your iPad battery.
This is true. By going on for far too long with this podcast.
No.
So yeah, this has been Choose Your Own Book Club. We'll see you next time.